and thank you so much for joining me for Picture Book Cooking. My name is Caitlyn, and I'm the Youth Librarian here at EVPL Central Read. So the purpose of this segment is to share some great picture books with you that you can read with your family, and also to share a recipe that matches the theme of the books. So for April, our theme is bread. We are going to make a delicious loaf of bread today, and I'm going to share some great books with you. So our first book here is called Bread Lab, and it's by 𝒃𝒓𝒆 and Bethany Econopoly. And it is great for elementary. It's got lots of bread facts in it, and it also has a recipe at the end. It's about a girl whose aunt comes to visit, and she calls her Plant Mary because she's a plant scientist. So it also has a female scientist in there, which is a great role model. And they make some bread together, and they also go into the science of the bread and how to make it. So it's a great book for getting more in depth with that topic. Our next one is called Dad Bakes by Katie Yamasaki, and this one is great for preschool and toddlers. It's got a cause and effect. There's waiting as they go through the bread process of waiting for it to rise, kneading the bread, baking the bread, all of that. It's got great, big, colorful illustrations. And it's also a book about a girl and her father, which you don't often see in a lot of picture books. So I thought that was a good touch as well, because he is a baker, which you might not think is a traditional job for a man. So that's a great book as well. Next, we have Frybread, a Native American family story by Kevin Millard. And this one is great for toddler through early elementary, really. It's got wonderful illustrations. The illustrator is the winner of the 𝒃𝒂𝒅 as well, which just means it's won an award for its illustrations. So it's got these great pictures in it. It's a story about family, about heritage, and it also includes a recipe for Frybread at the very end that you can make together as well if you want to explore another culture together. So next we have Toasty by Sarah Hong, and this one is very eclectic, a little different. It's great for preschool and early elementary because even though the words may seem really simple, it's about a piece of toast who wishes he were a dog. So it's definitely silly. It's hilarious to read with kids as they go through and seeing the toast try and transform itself into a dog. And it's just a very funny book. And you can also talk about what kinds of animals you like as well as what kind of bread you like. And it's got great pictures in there as well. Our last one is called Hooray for Bread by Ellen Ahlberg and Bruce Ingman. And this is great for toddlers and preschoolers. It's rhyming, and we all know that rhyming words are very good for children because it helps them hear the small parts that make up words. When they hear the difference between bat and cat, that helps them differentiate between the two words. And it's got great, bright illustrations, and it goes through the life cycle of a loaf of bread. So as it goes throughout the day, he gets made into sandwiches, he gets made into toast. The dogs try and catch some pieces of bread as well. So it's just a real fun book to read, especially with younger crowds. All right, so stick around. We are going to make a loaf of bread together. Welcome back. So today we are going to make bread, but we're going to make it in kind of an untraditional way. We are actually going to make it in a plastic bag. So this is especially fun for your little ones. They get to manipulate the bag and squish it all up, get their fingers working, work on those fine motor skills. So this is a really fun recipe to do at home. So first things first, we need to proof our yeast, just like we did in our February pizza dough recipe video. So for this recipe, we're going to use 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We're going to need 3 tablespoons of just plain white sugar. We're going to need 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and then 1 packet of rapid rise yeast, which works out to about 2 1/4 teaspoons. So to proof our yeast, we're going to add it to the bag. We're going to add some food for it, so the sugar, it's going to eat that. And And then we're gonna need 1 cup of warm water. So it should be warm to the touch, about 105 to 110 degrees, but not so hot that you can't put your finger in the water. And we're also going to add a cup of flour at this point. So this is a 1/2 cup scoop, so we're just gonna do 2 scoops of this. Make a mess while we do it. Right. And then squeeze the air out as best as you can. Seal that bag. And this is the fun part. Your little one can just squish it all up, get it all mixed together. Make sure that all of the flour and the yeast and the sugar is all nice and mixed together. And then we're gonna let it rest for about 10 minutes. You should see bubbles starting to form from the yeast. That means that it's activated and it's working. So we'll check back in about 10 minutes. All right, so we've got some bubbles forming, so let's go ahead and add another cup of flour. And at this point, we're also going to add our 3 tablespoons of olive oil and our 1½ teaspoons of salt. And again, close your bag up. And this is real fun for the kids, just squish away. So they're just gonna keep squishing it until it starts to incorporate together a little bit more. You'll start to feel it forming an actual dough rather than just a liquid sludge. All right, and then we're finally going to add our last cup of flour. So we're gonna put that in there. Then this is the last time we're gonna squish the bag. After this, we're actually gonna put it out onto the table and knead it. So again, your kid can squish it all up. Make sure you shake it around a few times too, just to get all the liquid out of the corners. Once it starts to come together, you're going to spread some flour onto your work surface. I already have a bunch that I already dumped out right here, so I'll just move that over. You want to get your hands nice and floury as well, and then we're going to knead it for 5 to 10 minutes. So you're going to take your dough out, and it might not be together when it comes out of the bag. So you're just going to knead it all together until it forms a smooth, round ball. And then once you've done that, you're going to place it in your greased loaf pan. So I've got a 5x9 pan here. The recipe that I found online for this, she used 2 mini loaf pans that were, I believe, 5 by 3 inches. So you can use either one. This will either make 1 big loaf or 2 mini loaves. And then you're going to let that set to the side under a towel and rise for 30 minutes. And then once it's risen, you're going to preheat your oven to 375. And for our large loaf, we're going to bake it for 40 minutes. If you have mini loaves, you'll bake them for 25 to 30. Just watch it. You just want the top to get golden brown, and then you'll know that it's ready. So I'm going to knead this and let it rise, and we'll check back with our finished product. All right, so now my bread has doubled in size. I let it rise for about 45 minutes, but anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, as long as it is looking nice and puffy and doubled in size, then it's ready to bake. So since I have it in a large loaf pan, I'm going to start at 30 minutes, watch it, and then see if it needs the full 40 minutes. I'm going to put it in my preheated oven that's set to 375. we'll check back in about half an hour. All right, it's been about 25 minutes, so let's check on our bread. There we go. Nice and golden brown. Got a little scorched on the top, so definitely watch it when you make it at home. All right, so now our bread is baked. It was super simple to do at home and super fun to make. So thank you so much for joining me for another picture book cooking episode. You can check out all of our videos on Facebook and on YouTube at EVP Library. Thank you.